Slot machines don't work the way you think they do, and the people who know this best are the ones who spent years working right next to them. Former casino employees have started coming forward with information that completely changes how we understand jackpots. These aren't just small details either. We're talking about the actual mechanics, the timing, the patterns that casinos never wanted you to know about. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some players walk away with life-changing money, while others can sit at the same machine for hours and leave with nothing. But here's where it gets really interesting. The biggest factor that leads to a jackpot isn't what most people think. It's not luck, it's not timing, it's not even about how much money you put in. According to statements from multiple ex-employees, there's something else entirely that determines your chances. Something that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Before we get into that though, we need to talk about what actually happens inside a slot machine. Because without understanding this, nothing else will make sense. The inner workings of these machines are far more complex than the flashing lights and spinning symbols would suggest. And once you understand the true mechanics, every other piece of casino strategy suddenly becomes clear. Every single slot machine in a modern casino runs on something called an RNG. That stands for Random Number Generator. And former slot technicians have explained that this is way more complex than most people realize. The RNG isn't just running when you press the button, it's running constantly. Every single millisecond, even when nobody is playing the machine, the RNG is cycling through thousands of number combinations. Reports from casino technicians show that these generators can process anywhere from 100 to several hundred number combinations every single second. Think about what that means for just a moment. While you're walking up to a machine, the RNG has already cycled through thousands of potential outcomes. While you're sitting down and getting comfortable, thousands more. While you're deciding how much to bet, thousands more. The machine never stops calculating, it never pauses. It's in a constant state of generating random numbers, waiting for someone to tell it to stop and display a result. Here's what that means in practice. When you press the spin button, you're not actually triggering the random selection. You're just telling the machine to stop on whatever number combination it happens to be on at that exact microsecond. Former employees revealed that the outcome of your spin was already determined before your finger even touched that button. The machine was just waiting for you to tell it when to stop. This is fundamentally different from how most people imagine slot machines working. Many players think that pressing the button initiates some kind of randomization process, like spinning a roulette wheel or shuffling cards. But that's not how it works at all. The randomization is happening continuously in the background. Your button press is simply a stop command, freezing the RNG on whatever value it's currently generating. This is why timing doesn't work the way people think it does. You'll see players who try to time their button presses, or who have specific rituals, or who think that playing at certain speeds makes a difference. Some players believe that if they press the button at just the right moment, they can somehow catch the machine when it's about to pay out. Others think that varying their timing or using a specific rhythm will influence the results. According to insider information, none of that matters. The RNG doesn't care about your timing. It doesn't care about your patterns. It's moving so fast that human reaction time can't possibly influence it. Consider the math. If an RNG is cycling through 200 combinations per second, that means a new number is generated every 5 milliseconds. The absolute fastest human reaction time is around 150 milliseconds. By the time your brain processes the decision to press the button and your finger actually makes contact, the RNG has moved through 30 or more different number combinations. You have no control over which one you land on. None whatsoever. Former technicians emphasize this point repeatedly. They would watch players develop elaborate superstitions about timing, about how hard to press the button, about whether to use their dominant hand or not. None of it made any difference. The RNG operates on a scale that's simply too fast for human intervention. But here's where former technicians drop something that changes everything. While the RNG is truly random, the way machines are programmed to pay out is not random at all. There's a specific mathematical formula built into every single machine, and this formula is what actually determines whether jackpots happen or not. The randomness exists within carefully defined parameters, and those parameters are set by the casino long before any player ever sits down. Every slot machine has something called a payback percentage programmed into it. Former casino managers have stated that this number is decided before the machine even hits the casino floor, and it never changes unless someone physically reprograms the machine. This is one of the most important concepts to understand about how casinos actually work, and it's something that most players don't fully grasp. Let's say a machine is programmed with a 94% payback rate. That means over the long run, for every $100 that goes into that machine, it's designed to pay back $94 to players. The casino keeps $6. That's how they make their profit. That 6% might not sound like much, but when you multiply it across thousands of machines being played millions of times, it adds up to enormous profits for the casino. But here's the part that catches people off guard. That 94% doesn't happen evenly. It doesn't mean you put in $100 and get 94 back. According to reports from floor supervisors, the machine achieves that percentage through a mix of small wins, medium wins, and very rare large wins, including jackpots. The distribution of wins is programmed according to a specific mathematical model. Some players will put in $50 and win $200. Others will put in $200 and win nothing. One player might hit a $500 win on their third spin, another might play for 6 hours and leave with nothing. Over time, across thousands and thousands of spins from hundreds of different players, the machine averages out to its programmed percentage. Former employees emphasized that this is why you can't judge a machine based on one session or even one day. The math only works over the long term. Former casino managers explained that this concept of long-term probability is something players struggle with. People want to believe that if they've lost money on a machine, it owes them something, or that if someone just won on a machine, it's now less likely to pay out again. But the machine doesn't remember what happened yesterday or an hour ago. It's just executing its programming over a massive sample size. Here's something that insiders revealed that most players never think about. Higher denomination machines usually have better payback percentages. A $5 slot might be programmed to pay back 96 or 97%, while a penny slot might only pay back 88 or 90%. The reason is simple, but it's based on casino economics that most people never consider. Casinos make more money from the volume on penny slots, so they can afford to keep a higher percentage. Think about it. A penny slot might have someone betting 40 or 50 cents per spin, but they're playing incredibly fast. They might go through 100 spins in just a few minutes. Even at a 90% payback rate, the casino is grinding out profit on every single one of those spins. The player feels like they're not risking much because the individual bets are small, but the accumulated action over time generates substantial revenue for the casino. On expensive machines, fewer people play them, so the payback rate needs to be better to keep those high rollers interested. A player sitting at a $5 machine is putting serious money at risk with every spin. They're more sophisticated about gambling, more aware of the odds, and they demand better value for their money. If the payback percentage was as low as a penny slot, high-denomination players would simply refuse to play. So casinos program these machines more generously to maintain the action. Former slot directors explain that this creates an interesting dynamic on the casino floor. The penny slots in the back are packed with players, all grinding away at terrible odds. Meanwhile, the high-limit room has just a handful of players, but they're getting much better mathematical value for their action. Most casual players never realize this disparity exists. But now we need to talk about something that former employees say changes everything about how jackpots actually work. And it has to do with something called theoretical hold. This concept is crucial for understanding the real mechanics behind what you see on the casino floor. Former casino analysts have explained that every machine has what's called a theoretical hold. This is different from payback percentage, but it's related. The theoretical hold is basically the inverse of payback percentage. If a machine has a 94% payback, it has a 6% hold. This is the percentage of money that the machine is mathematically expected to keep over the long run. But here's what makes this interesting. Casinos track something called actual hold versus theoretical hold. And according to statements from surveillance workers, they watch these numbers very carefully. Every machine on the floor is monitored in real time, with the casino's central system calculating exactly how much money has gone in versus how much has been paid out. When a machine's actual hold is running higher than its theoretical hold, that means the machine is keeping more money than it's supposed to over that time period. From the casino's perspective, this is good. The machine is performing better than expected. But from a mathematical standpoint, it also means the machine is due for variance correction. When actual hold is lower than theoretical, the machine is paying out more than expected. The casino is temporarily losing money on that machine, but probability suggests this will balance out over time. Reports suggest that casinos monitor these variances constantly. Former analysts explained that they would generate daily reports showing which machines were running hot and which were running cold relative to their theoretical performance. This information is used for everything from maintenance scheduling to strategic decisions about which machines to keep on the floor and which to replace. Now, former technicians have clarified that this doesn't mean casinos can just make a machine stop paying when it's been giving out too much money. The RNG is still random, the programming is still the same, but what it does mean is that over time, a machine that's been paying out heavily will statistically correct itself back toward its theoretical hold, and vice versa. This is simply how probability works when dealing with large sample sizes. This is where the information gets really valuable. Multiple former employees revealed that experienced players would sometimes watch which machines had recently hit jackpots. Not to avoid them, but to understand the variance cycle. A machine that just paid out a huge jackpot isn't due for another one. In fact, from a pure probability standpoint, it's no more or less likely to hit again than it was before. The RNG doesn't know or care that a jackpot just happened, but a machine that hasn't hit any significant wins in a very long time is statistically more likely to produce something big eventually, just based on mathematical probability trying to reach that theoretical average. Former floor workers explained that they would see savvy players tracking machines over days or even weeks, looking for ones that seemed to be running cold. These players understood variance and mean reversion. However, and this is crucial, former floor managers emphasized that this could take thousands or even tens of thousands of spins. You can't just sit down at a cold machine and expect to hit a jackpot in the next hour. The variance cycle works over massive sample sizes. A machine might need 50,000 spins to fully balance out its variance and return to theoretical hold. For a player doing 200 spins in a session, that's virtually meaningless. Former analysts also pointed out that even this strategy has limited value because you don't know when the variance cycle began. Maybe the machine has been cold for a week, or maybe it just started running cold yesterday and has weeks to go before any correction. You're still fundamentally gambling on random outcomes, just with a slightly more informed perspective on the underlying mathematics. Now we get to something that former employees say is the actual key to understanding jackpots. It's called volatility. And according to insiders, this is what separates machines that hit frequent jackpots from machines that almost never hit them. Understanding volatility is arguably more important than understanding payback percentage, yet it's information that casinos rarely make obvious to players. Volatility refers to how a machine is programmed to distribute its payouts. A low volatility machine pays out frequently but in smaller amounts. You might win something every few spins, but it's usually just enough to keep you playing. Maybe you bet $1 and win $2. Then you bet another dollar and win 50 cents. You're getting constant small hits. The machine feels responsive and engaging because you're winning often, even if most wins are less than your original bet. Former game designers explained that low volatility machines are specifically designed to maximize time on device. The psychological impact of frequent wins, even small ones, keeps players in their seats. You feel like you're doing well because you keep winning, even though your bankroll is slowly declining. The dopamine hits from those small wins mask the fact that you're losing money overall. High volatility machines work completely differently. Former slot technicians explain that these machines are programmed to pay out less frequently, but when they do pay, the amounts are much larger. You might go 50 or even 100 spins without winning anything at all. Your bankroll drops precipitously. You start to question whether the machine is working properly. but then suddenly you hit a bonus round or a significant multiplier that pays back everything you lost plus extra. The psychological experience of playing a high volatility machine is completely different from a low volatility machine. It's emotionally draining. You watch your money disappear spin after spin with nothing to show for it. Former floor workers said they would regularly have players complain that high volatility machines were broken or rigged because they went so long without any wins. But that's exactly how they're designed to function. Here's what matters for jackpots. According to reports from casino employees, the biggest jackpots almost always come from high volatility machines. The reason is mathematical. For a machine to offer a huge jackpot while still maintaining its overall payback percentage, it has to compensate by making smaller wins less frequent. Think about it this way. If a machine is programmed to pay back 94% over time, and it has a $1 million jackpot as a possibility, that massive jackpot has to be balanced out somewhere. Let's say that jackpot hits once every 10 million spins. That single event represents a massive payout relative to the amount of money that's been wagered. The machine compensates by making regular wins smaller and less frequent for all the other players. Former analysts explain that this is why progressive jackpot machines often feel like they eat your money faster than regular slots. They are eating it faster because they're building toward that massive top prize. Former game designers revealed that volatility programming is an art form. Too low, and the machine never generates the excitement of big wins. Too high, and players get frustrated and walk away before the big hits come. The sweet spot depends on the target audience. Casual players generally prefer low volatility because they want entertainment and playing time. Serious gamblers often prefer high volatility because they're chasing life-changing money and willing to risk their entire bankroll for a shot at it. But here's where insider information revealed something most players never consider. The volatility of a machine isn't usually posted anywhere. You can't walk up to a slot and see a label that says high volatility or low volatility. Former employees stated that casinos generally don't advertise this information because they want players focused on the theme and the jackpot size, not the mathematical reality of how often it pays. The casinos know that if machines were clearly labeled with volatility ratings, it would change player behavior in ways that might reduce overall revenue. Some players would avoid high volatility machines entirely. Others would only play high volatility, which could leave low volatility machines sitting empty. By keeping this information obscure, casinos maintain maximum flexibility in how players distribute themselves across the floor. However, there are ways to figure it out. According to multiple former floor workers, you can usually guess a machine's volatility by looking at its pay table. If the top prize is more than 10,000 times your base bet, it's almost certainly a high volatility machine. Those massive top prizes have to be funded somehow, and that funding comes from making all other wins less frequent. If the top prize is only 100 or 200 times your bet, it's probably low volatility. The math doesn't require extreme variance to support that kind of payout structure. Former slot techs also mentioned that you can often identify volatility by playing for just 20 or 30 spins. If you're getting frequent small wins, you're on a low volatility machine. If you're getting nothing at all, you're likely on a high volatility machine. Of course, this isn't foolproof. You could just be hitting a cold streak on a low volatility machine, but it's a reasonable indicator. Let's talk about progressive jackpots specifically, because former employees revealed some things about these that completely change how you should think about them. Progressive jackpots are the ones that generate the most excitement in casinos. They're advertised on huge displays, often with counters showing the current jackpot total climbing in real time. They represent the possibility of instant wealth, and that possibility is what keeps people playing even when the odds are astronomically against them. A progressive jackpot grows over time. Every time someone plays the machine and doesn't win the jackpot, a small percentage of their bet gets added to the jackpot total. You can watch it climbing in real time on the display. Reports from casino technicians show that the percentage added to the progressive varies by machine and casino, but it's typically somewhere between 1 and 5% of each bet. Former slot directors explained that this contribution percentage is calibrated very carefully. It needs to be high enough that the jackpot grows at a visible rate, creating excitement and drawing players in. but it can't be so high that it impacts the machine's overall payback percentage to the point where players feel like they're losing too quickly. It's a delicate balance. Now here's what insiders explained about progressive jackpots. There are actually different types, and understanding these distinctions is crucial for anyone who plays them. Some progressives are standalone, meaning only that one specific machine contributes to that jackpot. These tend to grow more slowly because there's only one source of funding. The jackpots are smaller, maybe $5,000 or $10,000 at most, but the odds of hitting them are relatively better than the alternatives. Others are linked locally, meaning several machines in the same casino all feed into the same jackpot pool. This is more common. You might have 20 machines all contributing to the same progressive jackpot. The jackpot grows faster because there are more players feeding into it, and the total can reach into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Former technicians said that these local progressives are often the sweet spot for players who want a substantial jackpot without impossibly long odds. And then there are wide area progressives, which link machines across multiple casinos, sometimes even across different states. Those are the ones with the multi-million-dollar jackpots you see advertised everywhere. Megabucks is probably the most famous example, with jackpots that regularly climb into the tens of millions of dollars. These progressives are connected through central computer systems that track every bet made on every linked machine across the entire network. Former employees revealed something crucial about how these actually hit. For standalone and local progressives, the RNG still determines the win, but the timing is often connected to the total amount in the jackpot pool. According to statements from technicians, many progressive machines are programmed so that the jackpot becomes hittable only after it reaches a certain threshold. Before that threshold, it's literally impossible to win it, no matter how many times the right symbol combination appears. This shocked many people when former employees first started talking about it. Players assumed that if the jackpot symbols lined up, you won the jackpot, period. But that's not always how it works. On many progressive machines, there's a minimum threshold programmed into the system. The jackpot might start at $10,000, but the actual win condition might not activate until it reaches $15,000. During that time, when the progressive is between 10 and 15,000, you simply cannot win it. The game won't let it happen. Why would they do this? Former casino analysts explained that it's about mathematics again. The casino needs to ensure that enough money has been contributed to the progressive pool to cover the jackpot amount plus their profit margin. If someone could hit a $100,000 progressive after only $10,000 had been contributed, the casino would lose massive amounts of money. The threshold system prevents this from happening. Former slot directors revealed that these thresholds are carefully calculated based on the expected play volume and the contribution percentage. They want the jackpot to be hittable before it grows so large that it starts costing the casino money to fund it, but not so early that they take a loss. It's a fine line, and it requires sophisticated modeling to get right. For wide area progressives, the mechanism is even more complex. Insider reports suggest that these often have a two-stage system. First, your spin has to trigger the jackpot feature, which is already extremely rare. Then, once you're in the jackpot feature, you have to actually win the top prize, which might involve a wheel spin or picking from hidden options. Former employees stated that the odds of triggering the feature and then winning the top prize are sometimes calculated separately, making the overall odds astronomically small. Former technicians who worked on these systems explained that wide area progressives might have odds of 1 in 50 million or even 1 in 100 million. To put that in perspective, you're more likely to be struck by lightning than to win one of these jackpots. But someone eventually does win them, and when they do, it generates massive publicity for the casino and for the progressive system as a whole. But here's something that multiple former workers emphasized. Despite the incredibly long odds, someone eventually does win these jackpots. And when they do, according to insiders, it's because they were playing at the exact microsecond when the RNG landed on the winning combination. Nothing they did influenced it, no strategy, no timing, no ritual. They just happened to press the button at the right moment out of billions of possible moments. They got incredibly, almost impossibly lucky, and the casino profits from thousands of other players who weren't lucky enough, all chasing that same dream. There's a widespread belief among casino players that betting more money increases your chances of hitting a jackpot. And according to former employees, this is both true and false in ways that most people don't understand. The relationship between bet size and jackpot eligibility is one of the most misunderstood aspects of slot machine play. Here's what insiders clarified. On most modern slots, you have to bet the maximum amount to be eligible for the top jackpot. If the machine requires a $3 maximum bet to qualify for the jackpot, and you're only betting $1, you literally cannot win the jackpot even if the symbols line up perfectly. Former floor managers stated that this rule exists on probably 70 to 80% of machines with significant jackpots. This creates a trap that former employees saw constantly. A player would line up the jackpot symbols while betting less than max, only to discover that they weren't eligible for the actual jackpot. Instead of winning $20,000, they might win $200. The symbols were right, but the bet wasn't, so the big prize remained out of reach. Former slot attendants said that these situations created some of the most angry, frustrated reactions they ever witnessed from players. So in that sense, yes, betting more does increase your chances, because betting less gives you zero chance. You're not even in the running. You might as well not be playing if your goal is the jackpot, and you're not betting maximum. But here's where it gets more nuanced. According to reports from casino technicians, betting maximum doesn't make the jackpot combination appear more often. The RNG is still producing the same random results regardless of your bet size. What maximum betting does is make you eligible to win if that combination happens to appear while you're playing. Former employees revealed that this is a major source of casino profit. Players bet maximum thinking it improves their odds, but really it just drains their bankroll faster while keeping their actual probability of hitting the jackpot exactly the same. You're eligible for the big prize, but you're going through your money 3 times as fast to maintain that eligibility. If you have a $100 budget and you're betting $3 per spin instead of $1 per spin, you get 67 spins instead of 200 spins. Your overall chances of hitting the jackpot actually decrease because you get fewer attempts. Former analysts explained that this creates a mathematical catch-22 for players. To be eligible for the jackpot, you need to bet maximum. But betting maximum means you get fewer spins from your bankroll. Fewer spins means fewer chances for that jackpot combination to appear. So you're simultaneously required to bet more to qualify, while that requirement reduces your total number of attempts. It's a perfect trap from the casino's perspective. There is one exception to this, according to insiders. Some newer machines have a feature where your bet size actually does influence your odds of triggering bonus features or jackpot rounds. On these machines, betting more might give you a 1 in 5,000 chance of triggering the jackpot feature, while betting less gives you a 1 in 10,000 chance. The bet size directly modifies the probability, not just the eligibility. Former technicians explained that these machines usually display this information somewhere in their pay tables, but players rarely read through all of that. The pay table might be buried in a help menu that requires pressing multiple buttons to access. Casinos design these interfaces to be as unintuitive as possible. They want players focused on the game, not studying mathematics. The few players who do take the time to read the pay tables and understand these bet-related probability changes are usually seasoned gamblers who approach slots with a more analytical mindset. Former floor supervisors said they could often spot these players by their behavior, carefully studying the machine before playing, taking notes, and making calculated decisions about bet sizing. Here's something that former casino workers revealed that has to do with where machines are placed on the casino floor. And according to multiple insiders, this isn't just random. The physical layout of a casino is designed with extraordinary care, and machine placement is one of the most important strategic decisions that casino management makes. Former floor managers explained that casinos deliberately place certain types of machines in specific locations. Loose machines, meaning machines with better payback percentages, are often positioned in high-traffic areas, near entrances, near restaurants, along main walkways. The reason is simple. When people see and hear someone winning, it creates excitement. It draws more people to play. The sounds of jackpots and the flashing lights create an atmosphere of winning that encourages others to try their luck. According to reports from employees who worked in slot placement, tighter machines with worse payback percentages are more likely to be in isolated corners or in areas where players are already committed to staying. If you've walked to the far back corner of the casino, you're probably not leaving just because you're not winning. You're stuck there, you've already invested the time to find a seat. So the casino doesn't need to entice you with better odds, you're captive. Former directors of slot operations explained that this strategy has been refined over decades. Casino managers study traffic patterns, heat maps of where people walk, and player behavior data to optimize machine placement. Every decision about where to put which machine is based on maximizing profit while maintaining the appearance of fairness and fun. Now, former employees were very clear about something. This doesn't mean machines by the entrance are paying out jackpots constantly. The difference in payback percentage might only be 2 or 3%. A machine in the front might be programmed for 95%, while one in the back is programmed for 92%. Over thousands of spins, that's significant. But in a single session, you might not notice any difference at all. The casino is playing a long game with these percentages. They know that over weeks and months, the machines near the entrance will pay out slightly more money. But they also know that the increased visibility and excitement generated by those payouts will draw in far more players than they lose to the better odds. It's a calculated trade, giving up a small amount of extra payback in exchange for much higher player volume. However, insiders did reveal one interesting pattern. Machines that hit large jackpots are often moved shortly after. According to statements from floor workers, casinos will sometimes relocate a machine that just paid out a huge jackpot to a more prominent position. This serves two purposes. First, it puts the machine in a high visibility area where the winner graphics and sounds can attract more players. They'll often put signage near the machine advertising the recent jackpot win, creating social proof that people do win on that machine. Second, players who saw that machine hit the jackpot will often seek it out, thinking it's hot, when statistically it's probably not going to hit another major jackpot for a very long time. Former floor supervisors explained that this is pure psychological manipulation. The machine is no more or less likely to hit a jackpot than it was before, but players attribute special properties to it based on recent history. The casino capitalizes on this cognitive bias by featuring the machine prominently. Former casino hosts also mentioned that they would sometimes tell regulars which machines had recently been moved or which ones were new to the floor. This insider information made players feel special and valued, building loyalty, and it served the casino's purposes because new machines often get extra attention from players, so casinos sometimes program them slightly looser for the first few weeks to build a positive reputation. Former slot directors admitted that this practice is deliberate and calculated. When a new machine is introduced, they want players to have positive early experiences with it. They'll program it at 96 or 97% payback for the first month. Players win more often, word spreads that the new machine is good, and soon it's one of the most popular games on the floor. After players associate that machine with winning, the casino can tighten it back to normal levels, maybe 92 or 93%, and people will still play it based on their initial experiences. The first impression has been set, and changing player behavior after that is very difficult. One of the most common questions that former employees say they heard constantly is whether time of day affects jackpot chances. Do machines pay out more at night? Are they looser during the week versus weekends? According to insiders, the real answer is more complicated than yes or no. This question reveals fundamental misunderstandings about how both slot machines and casino management work. From a pure programming standpoint, former technicians were absolutely clear. The RNG does not know what time it is, it doesn't have a clock, it doesn't differentiate between Tuesday afternoon and Saturday night. The random number generation is constant and unchanged regardless of time. The machine doesn't know if it's 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. It just keeps cycling through number combinations continuously, waiting for someone to press the button. This is important to understand because it contradicts a lot of player folklore. There are widespread beliefs that machines loosen up at certain times. Some players swear that early morning hours, between 2 and 6 a.m., are the best time to play. Others insist that weekend evenings are luckier. Former technicians said they would hear these theories constantly, and they were always based on anecdotal personal experiences rather than any real understanding of how the machines work. However, former floor managers revealed that casinos do sometimes make strategic changes to machines based on expected crowd sizes. During peak hours when the casino is packed, they might activate promotions or bonuses that make machines temporarily more attractive. This doesn't change the RNG, but it might add multipliers or increase the frequency of bonus rounds through special overlay features. Former marketing directors explained that these promotions are carefully timed. Weekend nights are the busiest periods for most casinos, so that's when they'll run special events, drawings, and bonus promotions. Players might perceive that they're winning more during these times, but it's often because of these added promotional features rather than any change in the underlying machine mathematics. Reports from employees also showed that progressive jackpots naturally grow larger during busy times simply because more people are playing and feeding money into the progressive pool. So if you're hunting for a large progressive, weekends and evenings often have bigger jackpots available simply because of the volume of play. A progressive that might be at $50,000 on a Tuesday afternoon could be at $75,000 on a Saturday night, just because of the additional play volume. But here's something that former surveillance workers noticed over years of watching player behavior. Jackpots seem to hit more frequently during busy times, not because the machines are programmed differently, but because more people are playing. If 100 people are playing during the day versus 500 people at night, statistically the night shift will see more jackpots simply due to the higher number of attempts. This creates a perception problem that casinos are happy to let persist. Players see more jackpots hitting at night and on weekends, and they conclude that machines must be programmed to pay out more during those times. But it's just a numbers game. More players equals more spins equals more jackpots hit, even though the probability per spin remains exactly the same. Former employees also revealed that casinos are aware of this perception. They know players think nights and weekends are luckier, so they sometimes schedule jackpot winners to be announced or celebrated during these peak times to reinforce that belief, even if the actual win happened at a completely random time. A jackpot that hits at 11 in the morning might not be officially announced and celebrated until that evening when the casino is full. The public announcement, complete with lights and sounds and applause, happens when it will have maximum impact on player psychology. Former marketing managers admitted that this kind of psychological manipulation is standard practice. Everything in a casino is designed to create the perception that winning is common and exciting. The reality is that losing is far more common, but casinos carefully manage when and how wins are publicized to maintain the illusion that anyone might be next. Almost every casino offers a player's club card or slot club card. You insert it into the machine while you play, and you earn points or comp credits. But according to former employees, there's a lot of confusion about whether these cards affect your chances of winning. There are persistent rumors among players that using the card makes machines tighter or somehow disadvantages you. Former insiders were eager to address these misconceptions directly. Insiders were unanimous on this point. The slot club card does not change the RNG. It does not make the machine tighter. It does not reduce your chances of winning. Former technicians explained that the card reader is a completely separate system from the RNG mechanism. The card tracks your play for the casino's records and for calculating your rewards, but it has zero connection to the outcome of your spins. Former slot directors emphasized this repeatedly. They said that this myth about cards affecting outcomes has persisted for decades, despite being completely false. The card reader is essentially just a tracking device. It records how much you've wagered, how long you've played, which machines you prefer, and what denominations you play. All of this data goes into a database for the casino's marketing department, but it has no influence whatsoever on the random number generator or the machine's payback programming. However, former casino hosts did reveal something interesting about these cards. The casino uses the data from your card to profile your playing habits. They know what denomination you play, how long you typically play, how much you usually lose, and how you respond to different types of offers. According to reports from marketing departments, this information is used to send you targeted promotions designed to get you back into the casino. The profiling is quite sophisticated. Former marketing analysts explain that they would segment players into different categories based on their value to the casino. There are low-value players who come in occasionally and don't lose much. There are medium-value players who visit regularly and have consistent losses. And there are high-value players, the so-called whales, who lose large amounts of money. Each category receives different treatment. If you're a high-value player who lost a significant amount, you might get offered a free hotel room or meal. Maybe even airfare and limousine service if you're losing enough. If you're a low-value player, you might just get some free slot play credits, usually worth far less than what you've lost. Former employees stated that these offers are calculated based on your theoretical loss, which is determined by how much you played and the house edge of the machines you chose. The theoretical loss calculation is very precise. Former analysts explained that the casino's computer system tracks every single bet you make. It knows that if you played $5,000 through a machine with a 6% house edge, your theoretical loss is $300. The casino will typically offer you back 10 to 30% of your theoretical loss in comps, depending on how valuable they consider you as a customer. So in this example, you might get $30 to $90 in comps, even though you theoretically lost $300. Now here's where it gets really interesting according to insiders. Some casinos do offer guaranteed jackpot promotions for cardholders. During these promotions, the casino will randomly select cardholders who are actively playing and award them a jackpot or bonus, completely separate from the machine's normal operation. Former floor workers explained that this is done through the centralized system, not through the individual machines. Former IT workers described how this works technically. The casino's central computer system monitors all players who have their cards inserted. When a promotional event triggers, the system randomly selects one or more players and sends a signal to credit their account or pay them directly. The player gets the money added to their card or paid out directly, and the machine they were playing had nothing to do with it. It's essentially a drawing that happens to be linked to your active play. This creates another interesting psychological dynamic. Players win these promotional jackpots and attribute it to the machine they were playing or their skill or their timing. But it was actually just a random selection by the casino's computer system. Former employees said they found this amusing because players would often return to the same machine, thinking it was lucky, when in reality the machine had nothing to do with their win. When you win above a certain amount on a slot machine, usually $1,200 in most jurisdictions, the machine locks up. You can't keep playing. An attendant has to come verify your win, collect your identification, and process tax paperwork. This is called a hand pay. And according to former employees, this threshold creates interesting player behaviors and strategies that most people don't fully understand. Former slot attendants revealed that many players don't understand why this threshold exists. It's not arbitrary. According to insiders, it's tied to tax reporting laws. Casinos are required to report wins above that threshold to the tax authorities. Below that amount, you're supposed to report it yourself, but the casino doesn't have to file anything. The $1,200 threshold comes from IRS regulations, and it's been in place for decades. The hand pay process itself is fairly involved. Former attendants explained the steps. When your win exceeds the threshold, the machine automatically locks. You cannot continue playing. An attendant is called over, usually through an automated system that alerts them on a handheld device. The attendant verifies the win, often by checking the machine's internal meters and confirming the payment amount. Then comes the paperwork. You have to provide identification, usually a driver's license or passport. The attendant fills out a W-2G form, which is the IRS form for reporting gambling winnings. You have to sign it. The casino keeps a copy, gives you a copy, and sends a copy to the IRS. Only after all this is complete will they pay you your winnings, usually in cash or a check depending on the amount and the casino's policies. But here's something that former employees noticed about player behavior around hand pays. Some regular players deliberately play machines where the top jackpot is just below the hand pay threshold. Their reasoning is that they want to avoid the tax hassle and the delay of waiting for an attendant. According to reports from floor managers, these players are actually being smart in one way, but missing the bigger picture in another. Yes, avoiding hand pays means faster gameplay and less immediate tax documentation. You can hit a win and keep right on playing without interruption. But former analysts pointed out that those machines with smaller top prizes are usually lower volatility. You're not going to hit a life-changing jackpot on a machine where the maximum win is $1,000. The players who win the really big jackpots, the $50,000 or $100,000 wins, are playing high-volatility machines where hand pays are inevitable. Former tax consultants who worked with casinos also pointed out that avoiding hand pays doesn't eliminate your tax obligation. Legally, you're required to report all gambling winnings on your tax return, regardless of whether the casino issued a W-2G. Most players don't do this for small wins, but technically they're supposed to. The hand pay threshold just determines whether the casino is required to report it to the IRS on your behalf. Former employees also revealed that many players don't realize you can win multiple hand pays in one session. The threshold applies per transaction, not per visit. So if you win $1,500 on one spin, that's a hand pay. But then if you keep playing and win another $1,500 on a different spin, that's a second hand pay. According to insiders, the casino tracks all of this and adds it up for tax reporting at the end of the year. Former surveillance workers explained that they monitor hand pay frequency very carefully. Players who hit multiple hand pays in a short period might be flagged for additional scrutiny. Not because they're doing anything wrong, but because it's unusual and could indicate either extraordinary luck or potentially some kind of advantage play or system manipulation. The vast majority of players never win even one hand pay, so multiple hand pays from a single player is definitely noteworthy. Modern slot machines are filled with bonus rounds, free spins, pick games, and wheel spins. These features are designed to be exciting and engaging, but according to former employees, there's a specific mathematical reason why these exist. Understanding the purpose and mechanics of bonus rounds reveals a lot about how modern slot machine design works. Former game designers who worked with casinos explained that bonus rounds allow machines to offer the perception of big wins while maintaining the house edge. Instead of just spinning reels and occasionally hitting a jackpot, players now get triggered into these elaborate bonus features that feel like they're playing a different game entirely. You might pick from treasure chests, or spin a wheel, or play a mini game where you shoot targets or climb a ladder. The psychological effect is powerful. Bonus rounds break up the monotony of base game spins, they add variety and excitement. They make players feel like they're getting something extra, something special. Former behavioral researchers who consulted with casinos explained that these features dramatically increase player engagement and session length. But here's what insiders revealed. The outcome of the bonus round is usually predetermined the moment the bonus is triggered. When you spin a wheel or pick from treasure chests, you might think your choice matters. According to reports from technicians, on many machines, what you're going to win was already decided by the RNG before you made any selections. The interactive element is just for entertainment. Former game designers confirmed this. They said that the RNG determines your total bonus win at the moment the bonus triggers. Then the game creates the illusion of choice by presenting you with options. No matter which treasure chest you pick, the game will ensure you end up with the predetermined win amount. If you were supposed to win $50, you'll win $50 whether you pick chest number 1 or chest number 3. There are some machines where your choices do matter, but former employees stated that these are less common than players think. On these machines, the RNG doesn't predetermine the total win. Instead, it randomly assigns values to each option, and your selection genuinely affects the outcome. The way to tell the difference is usually buried in the machine's documentation or pay table, and most players never check. The help menu might have a disclaimer that says picks are predetermined or picks contain randomly assigned values, but you'd have to look for it specifically. Former floor workers also noticed that bonus rounds serve another purpose for casinos. They keep players seated longer. Even if you're losing on the base game, the anticipation of triggering a bonus round keeps you playing. You tell yourself you'll quit after you get into the bonus. And once you're in a bonus round, you're locked in for however long it takes to complete. You can't walk away in the middle, you have to see it through. According to insiders, casinos know that the longer you stay seated at a machine, the more likely you are to eventually lose your entire budget. Every additional minute you spend playing is another minute for the house edge to work against you. Bonus rounds extend session times significantly. A player who might have quit after 20 minutes of base game play might stick around for an hour, waiting for and playing through bonus rounds. Former game developers also explained that bonus rounds allow for more complex pay structures. Instead of just lining up symbols on pay lines, machines can now offer numerous ways to win within the bonus feature. This creates the perception of winning even when the actual amounts are small. You might win $2 on pick 1, $3 on pick 2, $5 on pick 3 for a total of $10. It feels like multiple wins, creating multiple dopamine hits, even though $10 barely covers your bets to get into the bonus in the first place. Here's something that former technicians revealed that most players never think about. Modern slot machines are all networked together. They're connected to a central casino management system that monitors everything happening on every machine in real time. This network infrastructure is far more extensive and sophisticated than most players realize. According to reports from IT workers in casinos, this system tracks every single spin, every win, every loss, every player card insertion, and every bill inserted. The data collection is comprehensive. Casinos use this data to analyze performance, identify technical issues, and make decisions about which machines to keep and which to replace. Former database administrators explained that the amount of data generated is enormous, with millions of data points captured every single day. This centralized monitoring serves multiple purposes. From a maintenance perspective, it allows technicians to identify machines that are malfunctioning before players even complain. If a machine's handle count is abnormally low, it might indicate a mechanical problem. If the coin-in to coin-out ratio is far outside normal parameters, it could signal a programming error or tampering. From a regulatory perspective, the network ensures compliance with gaming laws. Regulators can audit machine performance remotely, checking that payback percentages match what was approved. Former compliance officers explained that this network monitoring has largely eliminated the old practice of casinos swapping out chips to change payback percentages on the fly. Everything is tracked and logged, creating an audit trail. But former employees clarified something important. Even though machines are networked, the central system cannot manipulate the RNG on the fly. It can't make a machine hit a jackpot or prevent a jackpot from happening. The RNG is still independent within each machine. What the system can do is flag unusual activity, track compliance with regulations, and collect data. Former slot directors emphasize this point because there are conspiracy theories that casinos can control individual machines remotely, making them pay out or tighten up at will. According to insiders, this is not how the system works. The RNG operates independently within each machine, using its own hardware-based random number generation. The network can monitor outcomes, but it cannot influence them in real time. However, insiders did reveal that some newer systems have the capability to remotely adjust a machine's payback percentage, but only when the machine is not being played and only after regulatory approval in jurisdictions where this is allowed. Former technicians stated that these adjustments are rare and usually involve reprogramming the machine overnight after hours, not during active play. The process for remote reprogramming is heavily regulated and documented. Former compliance managers explained that it typically requires multiple approvals, including from gaming control boards. The machine must be taken out of service, even if just electronically. The change must be logged and reported, and there are usually restrictions on how frequently these changes can be made. Former IT security specialists also revealed that casino networks are extremely secure. They have to be because any vulnerability could be exploited by cheaters or hackers. The networks are isolated from the internet, use encrypted communications between machines and servers, and have multiple layers of security monitoring. Any attempt to tamper with the network would trigger immediate alerts. We've covered RNGs, payback percentages, volatility, progressives, betting amounts, location, timing, and more. But according to multiple former casino employees, after all of this technical information, there's one factor that actually matters more than anything else when it comes to hitting a jackpot. And it's not what most people expect: volume of play. Former floor managers, technicians, analysts, and hosts all emphasize the same thing. The single biggest predictor of whether someone will hit a jackpot is simply how much they play. Not how they play, not when they play, not which machine they choose, just how many spins they put through the machine. This is the fundamental truth that underlies every other aspect of slot machine gambling. The math is simple according to insiders. If a jackpot has a 1 in a million chance of hitting, someone who plays 1,000 spins has a much lower chance than someone who plays 10,000 spins. And someone who plays 100,000 spins over time has an even better chance. Reports from casino analysts showed that the vast majority of jackpot winners are regular players who spend significant time playing slots. Former customer tracking managers confirmed this with data. When they analyzed jackpot winners, they found that the overwhelming majority were players whose cards showed extensive play history. These weren't casual tourists playing for an hour. These were regulars who came in multiple times per week, sometimes every day, and who had logged thousands or tens of thousands of spins over months or years. This isn't because they have any special strategy, it's purely statistical. The more attempts you make, the higher your probability of eventually landing on that winning combination. Former employees stated that they would see the same faces on the casino floor day after day, week after week. And eventually, some of those regular players would hit jackpots, not because they were better players, but because they put in the volume. Former hosts explained that they would develop relationships with these regular players. They knew their names, their preferences, their typical patterns, and over time they would see some of them win significant amounts, but they would also see that most of these winners would give the money back. A player who won $20,000 might seem thrilled initially, but within weeks or months they'd lost it all and more, continuing their regular play patterns. But here's the critical thing that former employees want people to understand. Volume of play also means volume of losses. For every regular player who eventually hits a jackpot, there are dozens who never do and who lose substantial amounts of money over time. According to statements from former casino hosts, even players who hit significant jackpots often end up giving most or all of it back to the casino if they keep playing. The mathematical reality is that every spin has a negative expected value for the player. The more you play, the more you're expected to lose overall. Yes, you increase your chances of hitting a jackpot by playing more, but you also guarantee that you'll lose more money on average. Former analysts explained that this is the fundamental truth that casinos are built on. The house edge grinds away at your bankroll over time, and the only way to definitely not lose is to not play. Former financial analysts who worked in casino accounting explain the math in stark terms. Over a large enough sample size, the casino always wins. Always. The payback percentage ensures it. If a machine pays back 94%, the casino keeps 6%. That 6% edge applied across millions of spins generates guaranteed profit. Individual players might win, even win big, but collectively, players as a group always lose money to the casino. This is why casinos can afford to offer enormous jackpots. They know that the aggregate losses from all players will far exceed the occasional jackpot payout. Former managers explained that they would budget for jackpots as a known expense. They could predict with remarkable accuracy how much they would pay out in jackpots each month based on historical data and play volume. It's all accounted for in the business model. What this all means for anyone playing slots. So after everything that former casino employees have revealed, what's the actual takeaway? According to insiders, it comes down to understanding that jackpots are purely mathematical events. They're not influenced by rituals, timing, location strategies, or anything else you might have heard. The RNG determines everything, and the RNG is truly random within the constraints of the machine's programming. If you're going to play slots, former employees recommend understanding the volatility of the machine you choose. If you want a chance at a life-changing jackpot, you need to play high-volatility machines and accept that you'll likely lose your entire budget in the process. Former floor managers were blunt about this. They said that players chasing life-changing money need to accept that they're almost certainly going to lose whatever they bring to the casino. The odds of actually hitting one of those massive jackpots are so remote that it's essentially like buying a very expensive lottery ticket. If you want entertainment value and frequent small wins, low volatility machines are better, but you'll never hit anything massive. Former hosts explained that they would often recommend low volatility machines to players who explicitly told them they were gambling for fun and entertainment rather than profit. These machines deliver the most playing time per dollar and provide frequent enough wins to keep the experience engaging. They also emphasize that progressive jackpots offer the biggest prizes but have the absolute worst odds and the fastest bankroll depletion. Former workers stated that these machines are designed to be money vacuums that feed the progressive pool. Every bet you make, you're essentially donating to a jackpot that you almost certainly will never win. You should only play them if you're specifically chasing that huge prize and understand you're paying a premium for that opportunity. Former game analysts explained that the progressive contribution percentage essentially acts as an additional tax on your play. Not only are you facing the normal house edge, but you're also contributing to the progressive pool with every bet. This makes the effective payback percentage even worse for the average player. You're funding someone else's future jackpot win while depleting your own bankroll at an accelerated rate. Most importantly, according to every former employee who spoke about this, casinos always win in the long run. The math guarantees it. Jackpots do hit, and when they do, it's an incredible moment for that player. But for every jackpot winner, there are thousands of players who fund that jackpot through their losses. The system is designed that way. The RNG is random, but the overall programming ensures the casino profits. Former casino executives were surprisingly candid about this when speaking anonymously. They explained that the entire industry is built on a mathematical foundation that guarantees profitability. There's no luck involved from the casino's perspective. They know exactly what their long-term win rate will be. Individual players might get lucky, but collectively, the player base is a reliable source of profit. Former casino workers want people to understand that slots should be entertainment, not an investment strategy or a way to make money. If you play, set a strict budget, stick to it, and view whatever you bet as the cost of entertainment, like buying a movie ticket. If you happen to win something, that's a bonus. But expecting to win or believing you can beat the system through strategy is exactly what casinos want you to think, because it keeps you playing longer. Former problem gambling counselors who worked in casinos added that this entertainment-only mindset is crucial for preventing gambling addiction. When people start viewing slots as a potential income source or a way to solve financial problems, that's when gambling becomes dangerous. The mathematical reality is that slots are designed to extract money from players over time, not provide them with income. The truth about what leads to a jackpot is simple according to those who know the machines best. It's random chance combined with being in the game long enough for that random chance to potentially work in your favor, while understanding that statistically it probably won't. Former employees emphasize that anyone who tells you they have a system or strategy for winning at slots is either lying or doesn't understand how the machines actually work. The randomness is absolute, the house edge is guaranteed, and the only real control you have is whether to play at all. And if so, how much you're willing to lose in exchange for the entertainment value. Former floor managers said they wished more players understood this going in, because it would lead to more responsible gambling behavior and fewer people chasing losses they can never recover. If you want to see more about how casinos actually work behind the scenes, check out the next video.